industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next. At the speed technology is growing, the future of money and securities are digital. 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before. Central banks continue to print money. Fortunately, the world has a new solution. Experts predict in 7 years, 10% of the world's economy will be in crypto-based assets. Today, 1 billion people have access to the financial industry. Crypto is about empowering the other 6 billion people by banking the unbanked. Do not underestimate this. Do you wish you invested in Google, Amazon, or Netflix before anyone ever knew about them? $1,000 invested in Netflix turned to over $500,000. At Token Metrics, we help you find the next Netflix. Token Metrics users think differently about investing. They are early adopters looking for financial freedom. They are people who see a better world. A world without international borders. We believe in a world where everyone has access to the next financial revolution. At Token Metrics, we are creating a bridge that gets you to that revolution. We will help you make sound investments in this new world. The world's best investors do not rely on their intuition. They embrace technology and AI to invest. Token Metrics uses AI to find invisible patterns in data to help you invest and trade in crypto. In the past, we have used our data-driven system to achieve financial freedom. Now, we are giving you the keys. We created Token Metrics to be the only platform you'll ever need to make money in crypto. We give you AI and access to crypto experts at the best price. The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond.
Disclaimer. Token Metrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Token Metrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
All right. Hello, crypto family. Hope you're all doing well. We have the pleasure of being joined by Tor. I guess, what's your title now at Secret Network? Is it like president or like founder or something like that?
I'm the founder of Secret Foundation. It's one of the many organizations that support Secret Network. So that's where I am at these days.
All right. Welcome back. This is your second time on the show, I believe.
That's a record, right? No.
Oh, no. Well, I think, yeah, this is number 2 for you. But if we count Khan and who's the other guy? The other seat of Enigma prior to the whole.
Oh, Guy? Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I guess first kick things off by telling them about yourself. Who's Tor Bair?
Yeah. Great question. So I'm Tor, as I said. I'm the founder of Secret Foundation. It's one of the entities in the Secret Network ecosystem. Secret Network is the first blockchain with privacy-preserving smart contracts that's been live on our mainnet since September of last year. But we're a pretty decentralized ecosystem. We have a lot of different independent organizations that contribute to the network. So there's Secret Foundation ourselves, but then there's also the Enigma development company. There's also Secret Nodes. There's Chain of Secrets. A lot of them are secret branded, but it's a very decentralized and powerful ecosystem as a result of that decentralization. We have tons of developers and node operators around the world who are helping contribute to the security of the network and also contributing at the application layer to hit our end goal of millions of users using privacy preserving applications in Web3.
All right, awesome, awesome. So I recall you guys, or not you guys, but I guess you now as the head of this project. Can you explain the past relationship between Enigma and what's now Secret, and why there was a swap for those maybe who maybe recall you being with a different blockchain project?
Yeah, this is all related to the exact same vision, which is around privacy preserving smart contracts. And the vision of Secret Network is actually even more expansive than the original Enigma vision, and I'll explain why. So in 2017, Enigma proposed this network that was going to be a layer 2 for Ethereum, that was going to be for private computation. And that vision was getting built out over time, over 2017, 2018, 2019. And then in 2020, at the beginning of 2020, the Enigma development company settled with the SEC over the initial token sale of what was ENG, which was the Enigma token at that time. And at that point, development for that version of the project, for the Enigma protocol, for this layer 2 to Ethereum, kind of had to come to a standstill. But at the same time, many members of that existing community, this privacy passionate community, got together and created this independent layer 1 network that was going to have privacy preserving smart contracts. And that became Secret Network. So Secret Network, the first mainnet was in February 2020. And in September 2020, this functionality for privacy preserving smart contract was added to mainnet. And that became the first layer 1 blockchain with that capability to launch. So it was a direct extension of the original vision for privacy preserving smart contracts, privacy preserving blockchains, private by default Web3. But it's actually a much more powerful ecosystem because not only can it be a standalone smart contracting ecosystem, we're also bridging to many other blockchains in order to bring privacy solutions to all public blockchains and turn Secret Network into this privacy hub for the entire Web3 universe.
Okay, very, very fascinating. Now, I believe you guys are part of the Cosmos ecosystem, or you basically built on Cosmos code.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, so like a lot of the other blockchains, we're based on Tendermint consensus and the Cosmos SDK. So that includes chains like Terra, that includes chains like the Cosmos Hub itself. It includes things like Thorchain. So there's a lot of like the most valuable and most adopted networks in the world are based on Tendermint consensus. And what's really exciting about that is there's this vision in the Cosmos universe around interoperability, around the internet of blockchains, where all of these different blockchains will have different applications, different focuses, and they'll all talk to each other in a really like technologically sound way. And this is primarily done through something that's been developed now in the Cosmos ecosystem, IBC, the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. And now we're starting to see the first Cosmos blockchains launching with IBC integrated, or existing blockchains beginning to integrate IBC. That's going to create a lot of awesome potential. You see this same vision of interoperability also like in the Polkadot ecosystem, even though that has a different structure, where it's like more of like a hub with spokes model, whereas in the Cosmos universe, there's a lot more sovereign chains and the connections are a lot more arbitrary. So it's a really exciting time to be in the Cosmos ecosystem. But I want to stress that like even though we've built in the Cosmos ecosystem, we touch every ecosystem. We're not standalone, just Secret Network, and we're not isolated to just Cosmos networks. Secret Network is the privacy hub for all blockchains.
All right, awesome, awesome. So let's kind of speak to the roadmap. Anything interesting coming up you'd like to share with the community?
Yeah, so the roadmap for a layer 1 network is kind of interesting, right? If it's a single application and you're just saying we're going to add this feature, we're going to add this partner, we're going to add this integration, the roadmap starts to look pretty obvious and pretty straightforward. But with Secret Network, because we're decentralized, because we're a layer 1 ecosystem, it's actually quite a bit more complicated. There's the improvements that are being made at the protocol level. There's the applications that are launching on top of the network. There's the primitives that are being built out for the network. And I can explain a little bit more about that. Then there's also the bridges that are being built between Secret and other ecosystems. So when I go into the roadmap for Secret Network, just understand that we're talking about every aspect of the ecosystem emerging. And each of these different aspects of the ecosystem might be being built by completely different development teams. It's not just one centralized dev company that builds everything for the network, just like there's not one centralized dev company that builds everything that goes on Ethereum. So with the understanding that, like, when we're talking about the Secret Network roadmap and the exciting things that are upcoming, it's a little bit like asking, like, what's the Ethereum roadmap? And there's so much experimentation happening. There's so many different contributors that it's not super possible to say it's going to look exactly like this. Here's how it's going to turn out. But I can point to what I think are the most exciting things that are currently happening in the Secret Network ecosystem and talk about the teams that are responsible for those.
All right, awesome. So actually, I've pulled up, this is one of your explorers. So
Yep.
maybe kind of walk through people. So how would this compare to other blockchains in terms of how I would say how the community is really owning this, right? Because I see you have 48 active nodes out
Yep.
of a total of 109. And then what's the pathway to kind of getting more of the community involved?
So we're a delegated proof of stake network. And what that means is anybody, and we're permissionless. So anybody can run a node, anybody can delegate their secret to any of the nodes that are active in the network. And the 50 nodes with the most delegated secret SCRT at any time are considered the active set. And they are the ones who are producing blocks in the network. They're the ones who are performing the computations. So if you're a delegator, if you or I hold secret, hold SCRT, we can delegate it to one of these nodes. And then here, the utility of secret, there's three major utilities. One is for network fees. So this is for interacting with any smart contract or sending any transaction you pay in secret. The same way that in Ethereum, everything you do, you use Ethereum for gas. So it's similar in that sense. Then secret is used for staking. So just like other delegated proof of stake networks, you can stake your secret, and over time, you get a share of the inflation in the network. So you can, in a Cosmos chain, like if you delegate your atom, you can delegate your atom to a node, and you'll get more atom over time in return for helping to secure the network by staking. But the other big piece comes from staking, which is governance. So secret is also a governance token in addition to all of this. So if you are a delegator in the network, you can vote directly on-chain proposals. So somebody can make a proposal to change a network parameter or to make a community spend proposal and spend some of the on-chain funds. And you have direct say over that as a stakeholder in the network, delegating your coins to one of these nodes. And nodes can also vote on your behalf. That's the delegated piece. So if a node votes and you don't override that node's vote, you've essentially entrusted your vote to that node to represent your interests in the network. And it's a really cool governance model. It's very common now with all of these Cosmos chains, and with more chains launching in the Cosmos ecosystem, they all, for the most part, have this delegated proof of stake model. I find it really empowering for community members. But this is just on-chain governance. There's many, many other ways where with off-chain governance, community members take a direct stake in helping scale the network, helping build applications, build tooling, so on and so forth.
All right, that's great to hear. So if you have any questions for Tor, please just post them in the chat and we'll pull them up. Now, one question I have, so basically private smart contracts, are you trying to, in a way, kind of compete with regular smart contract blockchains and by believing in privacy being that valuable? Because I feel like in crypto, privacy has been talked about a lot, but in terms of people actually voting with their actions, they just go degen coins, basically, right? As opposed to actual privacy.
Right. Well, I have a lot of thoughts about that, obviously. So first of all, most people think of privacy in blockchain and they think of Zcash, they think of Monero, they think of transactional privacy. And the reason they think about that is because these are the privacy coins that have existed to date. This is all you could do. And transactional privacy just says, if you want to send value from one place to another, and you want that to happen, and the amount is encrypted, or the receiver is encrypted, or the sender is encrypted, this was possible to some extent with some security trade-offs with these transactional privacy coins. But that's all that is giving you. It's just giving you the ability to transact privately. What Secret Network does is far more expansive and completely different by giving you computational privacy, or what we call programmable privacy, which is saying that for any smart contract, not just for a transaction, right? The same way that Ethereum extended what was possible with blockchains. Like Bitcoin was not a smart contracting platform, but Ethereum is. So we're extending what's possible with existing smart contract platforms by also saying, now what you do with it, like the privacy features, the data privacy on the blockchain is also programmable. That's different because with existing smart contract blockchains, everybody has the same model, which is public by default. And public by default means as a user, as a developer, you do not have a choice about what is public and what is private. Every aspect of your application needs to be public. Public by default means once something is public, you don't then get to go back and make it private again. It doesn't work in that direction, right? That's the same way that all encryption works. You don't get to like put the genie back in the bottle. That's the big drawback of public by default blockchains when you're trying to build these very complex applications for decentralized finance or NFTs or access control or anything else that you'd be trying to do with a blockchain effectively, anything more complex than just sending value from point A to point B. The design space is heavily restricted because public by default was the only model. So we're introducing this private by default model because with private by default, everything stays privacy preserving until you say, I want to reveal this to somebody else. And when you do that, when you finally say, I'm ready to reveal this to somebody else, then yes, it's public. But you could do it in such a way where it's only public to that other party under a certain circumstance, like for these access control use cases that are going to be very popular with Secret Network. That's one of the key things that you get from the network. And there's a lot of other benefits to privacy as well when it comes to the usability of applications, the security of applications. But my easy response to anybody who says, like, if privacy is so important, why aren't people valuing it more? And the reason is because to this point, the only thing that was private in the blockchain space were these like very narrow privacy coins where your anonymity set was just everybody else who was using these privacy coins and all you could do was send value around. But with programmable privacy, with private smart contracts, that's very meaningfully different from everything that's come before. And it's only existed with Secret Network. So we haven't even begun to see the type of experimentation that's going to be possible with a private by default smart contracting platform. And I think that when people really come to understand what types of unique applications can be built with that design model, then you're going to see an explosion in experimentation, because privacy for smart contracts is a need to have. Privacy for transactions may end up being a nice to have. But when it comes to actually building things in Web3 that aren't just sending value from point A to point B, you need data privacy to make those things scale, make them secure, and make them usable.
Okay, awesome. Now, how would you say you compare to other competing products in the space that are trying to do the same thing in terms of privacy smart contracts, privacy blockchains? Can you kind of speak on that?
Yeah, I mean, to this point, we get compared to transactional privacy coins because that's all that's existed. So it's basically the same explanation I just gave you. If I try to say, like, why is Secret Network different from Monero? Well, there's 100 different ways in which Secret Network is different from Monero. But one thing where we can interoperate with Monero is you could represent Monero as a secret
Not that
token.
per se, but how about like Keep Network, for example?
Yeah, so Keep started with a vision that I think was a lot broader and more generalizable. They wanted to do generalizable private computation, generalizable smart contracts. And for a lot of these other projects like Keep and NewCipher, who started with that vision, I think it's gotten a lot narrower, and it's specific applications that they're targeting with things like threshold cryptography or fully homomorphic encryption. And now I think they're collaborating on some things as well. So it's hard for me to compare it to projects that I think have already had like a shift in that piece of the roadmap. Right now, Secret Network is the only mainnet blockchain with generalizable private smart contracts. I am not aware of any other blockchain that has yet launched this. I know that there's some blockchains that are trying to have it in development. I don't know to what extent it's going to be composable with other chains. I don't know to what extent they're truly going to be generalizable. There's some that are trying to do it with zero knowledge proofs, and I don't know to what extent they're going to have traction with developers, because building zero knowledge proof ZK circuits is very different from developing like generalizable smart contract code in Rust, which is how it works on Secret Network. So yeah, it's hard for me to compare because most other things are a very different vision, or they're very transaction focused, or they're not live. And I always have a hard time when people ask me about what do you think of this blockchain and it's not launched. Like it would be very hard for me to like give an honest comparison until I see their code, until I see it working in the wild. But we've had this live on mainnet for 8 months, right? You can go and play with the code. You can use any of the applications that have been built on the network. There's $100 million worth of Ethereum assets currently stored on Secret Network as secret tokens being used in secret DeFi. So where we wanted to position ourselves always is we are the most adopted privacy preserving blockchain. But it turns out that for the time being, we're also the only one at all.
Okay. And actually, so speaking of that, what would happen if Ethereum would adopt privacy, right? Because I know that lots of other projects in the Ethereum space that are looking to add private transactions, private computing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would a developer want to go to a totally different chain as opposed to sticking into the large, vast Ethereum ecosystem?
So a few answers. One is that we still interoperate with Ethereum. The bridge to Ethereum ensures that we interoperate with Ethereum. So that's what our Ethereum bridge is designed to do, is allow you to be a developer in the Ethereum ecosystem, integrate Secret Network as a privacy component in your tech stack, maybe for access control or for wrapping assets as secret assets and being able to leverage our DeFi ecosystem, right? Like we're firm believers that we're moving to a multi-chain world. We're not Ethereum maximalists. We're not Ethereum minimalists either, because it clearly is the largest developer ecosystem. It's the fastest growing. It's the largest DeFi ecosystem. And, you know, Ethereum is massive and it's not going anywhere. But we do something that is completely different from Ethereum at a protocol level. And if Ethereum wanted to have private smart contracts at a protocol level, they would need a completely different architecture. And they're relying on like these sort of off-chain or side-chain or layer 2 solutions to introduce it. So there's I would say that the layer 2s to Ethereum are all competing very directly with each other. And we're doing something completely different, which is we're also offering this standalone universe. And because of that, I think it's a massive advantage because it allows us to integrate and interoperate a lot more easily with the Cosmos ecosystem, for example, where there's a ton of innovation, the Polkadot ecosystem via bridges, but we can also have our bridges to Monero, our bridges to Bitcoin, our bridges to Zcash. Eventually, oh my God, what a day. Effectively, any ecosystem that we want to be able to support with privacy, we can, versus being so tightly coupled to Ethereum and being really beholden to that roadmap where, you know, that can be a big challenge, especially if you're trying to say to developers, like, we are a platform to then build on top of, right? Applications built on Secret Network are composable. And we want to attract a vast developer ecosystem to build applications on Secret Network that talk to each other, that leverage all the liquidity in the ecosystem, all the community interest in the ecosystem. It's hard to do that if you're just saying, like, we're something that's strapped on top of Ethereum. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in the Web 2 world care more about privacy than they do about Ethereum.
All right, let's take some questions from the audience. Eric's question is the bridge trustless? Does it expect to be in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Ethereum bridge is one model for bridges. There's going to be multiple bridges in the Secret Network ecosystem. They'll all probably have different trust models depending on what the other protocol is. Right now, the bridge is not what I would consider trustless. It's not trust minimized, I think, is a fairer term. I don't think anything in the blockchain space is fairly referred to as trustless, but I think it is fair to refer to like designs as trust minimized. I don't think our Ethereum bridge currently has a trust minimized model. It's more of like a multi-sig approach, which is a very common and popular approach in terms of how assets are transferred between chains. So right now it's a 3 of 5. I'm going to get technical, so I'll try to leave it high level, but I think Eric probably imagines he'll get a technical response. It's a 3 of 5 multi-sig model where assets are locked in the bridge contract on Ethereum, and the synthetic secret tokens are minted on Secret Network. And these are fully privacy preserving versions of those assets. And when you take those assets back over the bridge to Ethereum, the synthetic asset is destroyed and the original asset is returned. So what you could do is take ETH and send your ETH over the bridge and turn it into a secret Ethereum token on Secret Network. And now you have this representation of Ethereum on Secret Network that you can always send back over the bridge and turn back into ETH to a fresh address if you wanted. But what would be more interesting to do is send your Ethereum over the bridge, take it to Secret Swap or any of the AMMs that are built on Secret Network, and turn it into a different asset entirely. So trade your secret Ethereum for secret USDT, let's say. And now you have secret USDT, which is a privacy preserving version of USDT. You send that back over the bridge to a new address in the form of USDT. So you entered the network with secret Ethereum, you've left the network with secret USDT, and it turns back into regular USDT back on the Ethereum side. So you're getting privacy not only for the asset that you're bringing into the secret ecosystem, but you're also getting the liquidity of the secret ecosystem. So you're kind of sharing privacy across all of the different assets in the ecosystem, not just pool by pool, not just an anonymity set for ETH, not just an anonymity set for USDT, just an anonymity set for Uni. Like you get it across all assets in the ecosystem. And the more bridges we build and the more liquidity that we get into the network, the more valuable that is to users of the network and users of these bridges. But yeah, back to the original question, that's the existing trust model. We're looking to build more trust minimized bridges. This is a big focus of community development. And at the same time, I find that like a lot of the most popular bridges and the most popular asset wrapping protocols have a much more centralized trust model than that. And they seem to get a lot of adoption. Our focus is really more on the privacy and security guarantees once you're inside Secret Network. And then we're going to work to ensure that the bridges themselves are equally secure and trustless. And that's progressive decentralization. That's progressive trust minimization.
All right, awesome. Next question from Niall. What are the typical use cases you envision with the privacy component that makes this project? Okay, he can't talk about investing, but let's speak to the use cases developers or just even users would use this project for.
Yeah. Right now, in the entire blockchain Web3 space, you can see two main verticals that are getting tons of adoption. One is DeFi, one is NFTs. That's not really an accident. And rather than reinvent the wheel and say, we think blockchains should also do 20 other different things. And with Secret Network, they can, right? With programmable privacy, it does unlock a bunch of different applications. I'll focus just on what this unlocks for DeFi and just on what this would unlock for NFTs, because these are massive, like billions of dollar verticals already in the blockchain space. And just by adding programmable privacy to these verticals, you already unlock a ton of value. So for DeFi specifically, Secret Swap is the first AMM that launched in the Secret Network universe. It launched in February, and the governance token for Secret Swap, CFI, just launched at the end of March. So Secret Swap is a cross-chain, front-running resistant, privacy-preserving DEX, effectively. And when you bring your assets into Secret Swap just lets you create liquidity pools for any two secret tokens. So you can have a secret versus secret ETH pool, and then you can trade your secret directly for secret ETH. You can trade your secret ETH directly for secret in that pool. Your interactions with the Secret Swap AMM are all encrypted. So it's front-running resistant because even the miners themselves that are processing the transactions with the AMM cannot see that transaction as it's happening. It is hidden from them. So we're completely eliminating most of miner extractable value, most of this front-running risk for users. And then there's also this cross-chain component where, because we're offering all these different bridges, we're trying to bridge to Binance Smart Chain and all these Cosmos chains. As you bring those assets into the ecosystem, you don't just have access to ETH assets, you have access to all of these assets on Secret Network. Whatever there's a liquidity pool for, you have access to. So that's a really cool feature of Secret Swap in particular. But what's great about Secret Swap is it's not going to be the only AMM on Secret Network. There's actually a project right now called Sienna Network, which is their own independent team that have also built an AMM on Secret Network that has a completely different design, but leverages the same bridges. And they also have a native governance token. So this is kind of like how there's Uniswap and SushiSwap and a bunch of different AMMs in the Ethereum ecosystem. On Secret Network, all of these AMMs give you the same privacy guarantees, the same front-running resistance, because they're getting it at a protocol level. But they share liquidity. You could have a liquidity aggregator across all of these different AMMs on Secret Network. That's super exciting. But what's even more exciting is that Siena's also planning to go past the AMM and build a lending protocol. So now you have privacy preserving lending on Secret Network, where you can be using any of these secret tokens as collateral inside of lending, get leverage on those tokens, use them inside the AMMs, right? Or use them inside some sort of privacy preserving credit scoring protocol, so you can do under collateralized lending instead of over collateralized lending. So there's all these crazy applications you can build, all composable, all privacy preserving and front running resistant by design on Secret Network. So the DeFi ecosystem really excites me. With all that said, I actually think secret NFTs are even more exciting. But if you want to talk about secret DeFi a little bit more, I can, but I definitely want to say a few words about secret NFTs.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's pivot to NFTs.
So secret NFTs, if anybody here is dealing with NFTs, collecting NFTs, like that's awesome. I think it's great. I'm a musician. I love art-focused use cases and creator-focused use cases in the Web3 world. There's a massive problem for creators in the Web3 world, though, and it's this public by default model. With a public by default model, the things that you create in the Web3 world, there's really no good monetization model, because as soon as you put it on the blockchain, it's public to everybody. And all of these access control solutions that get built on Ethereum are super, super hacky. And they have to be hacky because that's what public by default means. I'm going to use an analogy that I've used before on podcasts, but it really helps to explain the public versus private by default model. The public by default model is like if you decided to brush your teeth by taking a tube of toothpaste, putting all of the toothpaste on your counter, and then taking your toothbrush, selecting some of the toothpaste, brushing your teeth with it, and then putting it back. The private by default model means you have a tube of toothpaste, and when you want to brush your teeth, you squeeze a little bit out of the tube, and you brush your teeth with it, and then you spit it out, and the rest of the toothpaste is still in the tube. You can pretty quickly see why the public by default model is the stupid way to do it if you're trying to like minimize the exposure of toothpaste all over your bathroom counter. Like, this is clearly not the sanitary way to do it. But if you think about it from a data perspective, it's clearly not the sanitary way to do it from a data perspective either. The public by default meaning everything you've ever done with the blockchain, public to everybody else. If you're an NFT collector and you collect an NFT, a rare NFT, into an address, that address is basically burned forever. As soon as somebody knows that you are the owner of that NFT publicly and they can associate ownership of that NFT back to that address, that's it. So any question of pseudonymity or anonymity in the crypto space is immediately eliminated. And that's a huge security risk for users, not only just like a privacy risk, but I'm really concerned about user security, user sustainability. So secret NFTs give you private ownership by default, right? It's just like a secret token. Like, secret tokens that I've talked about so far are all fungible tokens, right? They represent fungible assets in other ecosystems. But secret NFTs are secret non-fungible tokens, but they still have the same privacy preserving qualities. And when you interact with them, you have privacy. So your ownership of that NFT is private. Your interaction with that NFT is private. But if you choose to reveal something about your ownership with that NFT, now you're making something public about your ownership of that NFT when you choose to do it. You consent to revealing something about that. That's better than like the always model, because in the real world, you don't walk around with a list of all of your assets strapped to your chest and a list of your bank account history strapped to your chest. In the blockchain space, we do, and we think it's okay. But for real world adoption of this stuff, for it to be any more than a game or like a speculative circus, this is something that needs to exist. But that's not even the most interesting thing about secret NFTs. The most interesting thing is that secret NFTs have a combination of public and private metadata. So private and public metadata together means you can also have NFTs with hidden attributes. So you can have, for example, an NFT where before you purchase it or before you interact with it, you can't see some of its properties. And after you purchase it, after you interact with it, you do see them. You can effectively unwrap it. So this is a really, really cool functionality for if you are building anything gaming related, if you have like unlockable content as a creator, or if you're building like composable NFTs or evolvable NFTs and they need to have these complex components. I think that this is like just so unlocks so many cool use cases in blockchain gaming. And I think permissionless gaming is going to be a massive vertical, probably the massive next vertical after DeFi and just collecting to take off, because it's so interactive. And you can already see like hundreds of millions of users around the globe deep into their games, purchasing billions of dollars in in-game assets. But they might be reluctant to do the same thing in a perfectly open Web3 universe because of the lack of privacy. So I actually think we're going to see super, super cool privacy by default use cases emerge for NFTs in gaming, not just digital art. But I also love how private ownership unlocks new monetization models for creators in the blockchain space. And as a creator, I care about that because I don't want to just put my shit on a blockchain. I want to make money, just like everybody else. So yeah, I get passionate about that part. I think that's really cool.
All right, awesome. So if you have any questions for Tor regarding the project, please just post the questions in the chat and we'll bring them up on stage. So is there anything we haven't touched on that you think is worth bringing up regarding the project or just in general with the whole crypto space?
Ooh, the whole crypto space. Well, regarding the project, I think the most interesting thing about the project is how engaged the community is. And if you haven't met a secret agent, chances are you have, and you just didn't know.
They're called secret agents. That's their name.
Oh yeah, of course. you have the Link Marines, and then you have the secret agents. But it's an amazing group of people. Like you could count everyone in our community as a secret agent. We have a large community. We have like something like 80,000 Twitter followers and 10,000 people in our Discord and 10,000 people in the Telegram and things like that. But we also have community committees, and these committees are led by community members who put together projects on behalf of the ecosystem. We have an awareness committee that helps like getting the word out about secret products. We have an education committee that produces educational materials. We have a developer committee that works on developer-focused materials and helps onboard devs to the network. We have an infrastructure committee that works on best practices for node operators. So we've got hundreds of people, secret agents, like official secret agents, that contribute to these committees and show up to our calls. There's a once weekly call for each committee that anybody can attend. It's all public on our Discord. So if you're kind of around the edges of the project and you're just like, man, I wish there were more projects that I could contribute to, but maybe I'm not a developer. I think Secret is actually one of the most accessible ecosystems, which is ironic for a privacy project. But if you think about our mission, it's actually exactly on brand. We have one of the most accessible and empowering community ecosystems in the blockchain space. And because there's not like a single centralized development company that does all the development for Secret Network, there's a lot more ownership that's taken by the community. And when there's a lot more ownership that's taken, there's also a lot more share of the rewards that are had by the community. People are building their own businesses completely to serve Secret Network or just to build applications on Secret Network. And I feel like you could also say that in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? Ethereum has done the best job, no question, outside of Bitcoin, of empowering people to build sustainable businesses that rely on the protocol. But we want to be just as good. We want to provide a sustainable foundation for people to come in, build what they want to build, get value from it, create value with it for everybody else in the ecosystem. And we don't want it to be like you're now a brand ambassador for like one dev shop, right? And you're just kind of like a cheerleader for the project. There's tons of those projects, and it's cool and it's fun to root for Justin Sun and things like that. But that's not who we are. So for people who are like really looking to empower themselves and become contributors in an ecosystem and get some of that value back, the Secret ecosystem is where you want to be. And it's my job, it's the foundation's job specifically to empower the community and resource them so they can create this value and take some of it for themselves and have ownership of this network, not just kind of stand on the sidelines while they cheer for a number to go up or for like a main net to drop. Like you can do something and you can be a part of what's getting built in the ecosystem. I'm super proud of that part. And so I wanted to at least make sure I got to say it.
All right. So I have some questions here from the audience. So Soy Frey is asking, actually, I'll just kind of take his question and make it general. Where can people learn more about projects building on Secret Network, whether NFTs, DeFi, Is there a website or platform where everything is listed?
Yeah, our main website is scrt.network, which is an open source website that the community maintains. And there's a big version 2 release coming for the website coming next month, where everything's going to get redone. But that's where most of the information about the project, what's getting built, what's being written is done. I would say your best resource is the blog. So if you go to scrt.network/blog, we have like 2-3 posts a week about what's getting built in the network. I should also say that we have a $70 million grant program. So if you want to get a grant to build something on the network, those are available. We actually just announced today, if you want to scroll down past the featured section, and then we'll click on the first blog post you see. Yeah, that red one announcing Secret Fellows. If you're a developer for any reason and you want to get paid to build dApps on Secret Network, even though you don't know what you want to build yet, we're basically paying developers to come into the ecosystem, learn to build secret dApps, and then deploy them on the network. We already have people who have done token sales for tokens that were issued on the network. Like Sienna is doing their token sale right now, and Sienna is a secret token that's native to Secret Network. And people are going to issue their own secret NFTs on Secret. Like you'll be able to launch your own NFTs, you'll be able to sell them, you'll be able to collect them, trade them. So you're listening to this right now, you're an early adopter. Like you would be one of the first to create these NFTs because we just launched the reference implementation for NFTs a week ago about. It was the first grant we funded in the network was to build the secret NFT standard, and only now has it gone live. So we're just seeing this first project start to emerge. We just had Secret Heroes at ETH Global win a prize for their work on an NFT-based game that's built on Secret Network, and that's going to go live really soon. So definitely this is the time if you want to build stuff because you're early, and you know how it is to be first, right? The first NFT projects on Ethereum was like, CryptoPunks, and those are doing pretty good. I think that people who are early adopters of Secret DeFi and Secret NFTs are also going to find themselves really happy in a couple of years. And there's a lot of people who see the space right now as maybe a little bit overheated, and maybe it is, but it's not going anywhere. And we're building to be sustainable. Who knows if this is going to like turn into, many multiples of what we already see today. Maybe it's just a straight line up from here, or maybe there's a pullback and then another wave, and who knows? We're going to be here in any event. Like we're trying to build an extremely sustainable network, and we think that privacy is critical to sustainability. So where you see other things kind of like overshoot, collapse, we're working to like do that slow burn. So anybody listening who wants to learn more about the network, go to those places I said. Also twitter.com/secret network. And if you want to join the community, come to chat.scrt.network. That's our Discord. That's where all the secret agents hang out. That's where the committees do their work. That's where most of the devs are. That's where all the nodes are. That's where I am. So look for me. And yeah, I could go on, man, but I think it's just so exciting to be able to see so many new people coming into the space because they all have a very, very different vision than they did in 2017. I think the people coming in 2021 want to build.
All right. Awesome. So let's wrap things up. If you enjoyed this live stream, please smash the like button, subscribe, and share this with your friends in crypto, with your crypto family. Okay, so lots of people are still basically putting you guys in the same box as Monero, as Ren, as anything privacy, right?
Yeah,
so I guess
I'm used to it.
If you could answer that one last time, I guess,
Yep.
How do you envision being totally different from all those projects?
Well,
Besides being just smart contracts.
I know. It's tough because it's not something that's existed as a paradigm in the blockchain space. So you have to wrap your mind around a totally new concept. Everybody comes to Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain and they look at a block explorer and literally everything is public. And they don't realize when they're getting started that they don't have any choice about what's public and what's not. And the application developers don't have any choice about what's public or what's not. They have to make it all public or they have to centralize it. That's kind of how it works. So for the people who kind of missed the early part of that explanation, Monero is just this transfer of value privacy, just transactional privacy. But that's not enough. That it's not enough to build Web3 to just say we can send something privately to somebody else. That would have been like saying like Bitcoin is the end of innovation for cryptocurrencies. We don't need a smart contract platform. We don't need to be able to program the transfer of money, right? If we say all we need for privacy purposes is the ability to transfer money. No, we need privacy for generalizable, general purpose smart contracts. And we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what's possible to build with that because there's never been a project like this. So people keep asking, like, how are you going to differentiate yourself from Monero, from Zcash, from this? They are not going to differentiate themselves from each other. Like, we're already differentiated. The only thing that we're struggling on is helping people understand the ways in which we're differentiated. And the only way you can understand, probably best, is to start using it for yourself. So if you're still confused about how this is different from Monero, or how this might be different from Zcash or any of these other like privacy coins that are like privacy coins that do transactional privacy, you got to start using Secret Network. You got to use Secret Swap. You got to use any of these applications, and you'll see immediately the difference in this ecosystem versus any other. And like, I don't blame you for asking the questions, obviously. Nothing, if you're looking at something totally new, you have to try to slot it into something you're already familiar with. You try to make an analogy. But the analogy that I would use, if you want to make it simple, is if you could combine the privacy protections of a Monero, but the programmability of a smart contracting platform like Ethereum, you would get something totally new, and it would look like Secret Network. That's what we built.
All right. Thank you so much, Tor. So with that being said, that concludes the interview. So if you have any questions regarding the project, check out the website, the blog. Once again, this is not financial advice or do your own research. Investing in and holding cryptocurrencies can be risky. With that being said, thank you so much, Tor, and we wish you the best. Take care.
Thank you, brother. It's good to talk as always.
Likewise. Thank you all, Crypto family. Bye.